Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gundam close-up view. I personally took a week break for my regular release schedule to research for the ASMR build type video, and I have to tell you that 1 week is such time well spent. I ran into a lot of struggle, but I finally got a hold of the skill. Going forward, I will document all my new build in such form. If you did not get a chance to check out my first ASMR full build video on this model, feel free to click on the link on the upper right corner. Alright, enough of that little achievement of mine. Today, let's get straight into the point. We're going to have an in-depth review of the 1100 Master Grade Sword Impulse Gundam, which was released in 2009. This mobile suit is one of the variants of the Impulse Gundam, one of the main Gundam lead of the Sea Destiny anime series. The other two variants are the Force Impulse and the Blast Impulse. This mobile suit was first piloted by Shin Asuka and then passed over to Luna Maria Hogue. So moving on to the build, what we are looking here is the snap build finished product with panel lining and out-of-the-box decal. Obviously, nut mark can be seen quite a bit since this is a 2009 model. However, they are not very noticeable except those black area on the backpack and the blue on Excalibur laser sword. So as always, on our left is the box art. This screenshot captured the fight scene where the Sword Impulse is destroying an enemy battleship, of course holding the Excalibur sword, which is also called an anti-ship sword. If you recall from the anime, most of the fight scene involve the Sword Impulse are pretty much seen wrecking all the battleship in the field. On the other hand, the beam Boomerang is ready to be thrown out as well. The detailed artwork of the battleship is also fantastic. Two tiny humans can be spotted here. A lot of inflatable rescue boats are also included in the picture. Also, from far away, we can see the strike rock and 3 more battleships are approaching. Moving to the right, we have all the weapon and accessory coming with the model kit. The high energy beam rifle, the shield, the beam Boomerang and its effect part, the 2 Excalibur sword and its effect part, 2 folding razor, a pair of weapon holding hand, silhouette flyer, additional backpack adapter for customization, multiple display stand connection, and all the landing gear. Actually, there's a lot of accessories coming with this model. So question time, is this 2009 model still good to buy? If so, should you include this into your collection? In my opinion, the main selling point of this model are for sure the giant dual sword and the big and cool looking Boomerang. However, before we get into the conclusion, let's have a closer look at all the overall detail. So first, let's go over the only long-range weapon of this variant of the Impulse, the high-energy beam rifle. For color scheme, we have mostly gray color here, one tiny piece of red close to the handle, and one piece of white on the scope. 2 decent white decals, which I recommend to apply for sure. In terms of mobility, the scope can fold up and down, and it is used for storage mode. The second handle can be slide up and down to recreate the dual handling mode. There are many panel light opportunities here. You can use the black ink to make them pop. One only complaint is that the connection pack here, oh well, this is a 2009 model, so what can we expect, right? Next up is the shield. This is an anti-coat shield. For the color scheme, we have mostly white on the back. There are a ton of panel light if you decide to go for it. In the front, we have a sizable yellow cross in the middle and surrounded by the red color. The shield can also be extended to reveal the gray inner frame as well. In order to turn this into an active mode, we simply just slide the front and the end, then pan out the side part underneath. Either we can have the shield attached to the forearm or using the handle over here for extra grip. Very nice detail and decal on the shield. So here comes the Sword Impulse mid-range weapon, the Boomerang. Personally, the appearance is perfect. Mostly constructed by red plastic and touched up with the black cover on the edge. The front does not have a lot of panel line compared to the back, but white piping decal is very nice touch, so definitely apply them. In terms of mobility, both wings can move either 30 degrees up or down depending on the mode. As a weapon, we can either use the whole Boomerang for a physical attack or detach both wings to use as a beam Boomerang. A quick note over here is that when snapping the Boomerang wing together, make sure you follow the instruction to put the right connection part onto each wing. Alright, so to turn this into a beam Boomerang, we simply just put the effect part on. Definitely gonna give Bandai credit for this beam effect part. Sparking material mixing with clear pink plastic. The size is big enough to be considered as deadly when swinging both beam boomerang. In order to connect this to the backpack, make sure to line up the connection pack correctly. Up next is the main melee weapon of the Sword Impulse, the two Excalibur anti-ship sword. When not in use, both are stored on each side of the backpack. Make sure you are sliding it on the side of the sword. For color, the whole sword is covered with white and blue. The only black color presented is in the handle. Most of the panel lines are on the forward, and we don't see much on the blade. When in storage mode, we simply just shrink it down. In active mode, we have to add two beam effect parts on each sword, one on the edge of the blade, and the other one is on the tip point of the blade. Both Excalibur are identical, and we can combine together at the hilt to form a dual blade form. The size of this combined weapon is very impressive. Simple design but deadly and a nightmare for battleship. Also, there's a dedicated pair of hands to hold its sword separately. When this both swords combine together, it actually gives me the vibe of Monkey King. That's just me. Last but not least, the anti-armor knife. If you record the Sword Impulse uses weapon, please show me. For color, 100% gray color here. So if you decided to give this a little bit color separation, you can either paint this blade body silver or chrome. I didn't think I would ever display this weapon, so I just go with silver. When it's not in use, it can be folded and stored in the side skirt. Just remember to have the tip point up, otherwise you will struggle to close it. So next we have the silhouette flyer. The design is fairly simple. Black on the lower half and white on the upper half with a touch of red. It comes with 3 landing gear if you choose to display this on the ground. Bandai also provides a docking station, but it can only be used when you have the sword pack connected to the flyer. In order to do that, we simply just line up both Excalibur horizontally, push down this section, then flip it up 90 degrees. For the boomerang, we also slide down a little bit and turn it 180 degrees. On the flyer, tilt up the thruster, pull out the connection part, align this runner to sword pack. Then we can rest this on the docking station or use this display connection to have it up in the air. Bandai want to provide a little bit more playability on this model by adding these 2 additional pieces. The white one is to replace the core flyer on the inner part of the body, and the blue will slap on the back to connect it. By doing this, we have the connection with most of the striker pack. The sample I have here is the Strike Nord pack. One thing I have to point out is that since the Sword Impulse main color theme is red, it would be a little bit odd to slap on these blue pieces. The Sword Impulse also has this additional adapter, and that color scheme is much more matching. So moving on to the body. First, we have a look at the lower body. Starting with the waist, we have mainly white and very light gray, a little bit red and dark in the front. One note here is that there are a ton of panel lines to ink. It actually looks very good with all of them done. In terms of mobility, up and down with no problem at all. Doesn't matter for the front skirt or back skirt. The only part that will hinder the movement is the side skirt, but no worry, we can swing back and front to give the leg more room to move. So down to the lower leg, 80% are white part, so definitely don't be lazy, you must get the panel line job done. The hip joint is very tight and secure. Since the thigh is slim, mobility is pretty decent. Thigh armor will split if we bend it to a certain level. Down to the knee, the armor will also split if we bend the leg even further. The red armor pieces is a very nice touch. We also spot a tiny yellow pieces on the knee. On the sides, we can spot some vent through the inner frame and the thruster on the back. For ankle armor, it is connected directly to the lower leg armor, so the mobility here is a little bit limited. However, the big and long feet would get the posing job done without any problem. The feet can point down 90 degrees but cannot really point up much. We have to rely on the double joint angle to get the dynamic toe touching pose. The main color here is dark. One tip is that when you finish all the decal following the instruction, there are a lot of leftover, which you can customize and add on to the leg. Personally, I pretty much use all of it. Just remember, don't use a dry transfer decal here on the thigh because the front skirt will scratch it up. So moving to the upper body, we have a standard armor pieces around the abs, but the wavy design running down from the torso on the side is very nice. Articulation rely heavily on the ball joint since the upper torso is stuck with the core flyer. One thing to mention here is that the upper torso tends to split out when I try to post around the waist too much. So in terms of color, mainly red with a little bit of yellow, then gray on the top, which look very nice. Quickly look at the core flyer, we can see a lot of detail in design. Unfolding this, we simply just open up the flyer front twice, flip up the tail wing, pull out the side wing, and then spread it. Bandai provide us 3 landing gear for those core flyer as well. If you want to display the core flyer aside with the sword impulse, we can do that since the body connection does not rely on the core flyer. It just looks weird to have a hollow part in here. Next is the arm. Beside the shoulder armor is red with a little gray, the rest are white. I really love the decal Bandai provided here on the shoulder. This one here say Impulse Gundam. Also, we have a decal on the pilot name here as well. They give us 2 options, either we can go with Shin or we can go with Luna Maria. Articulation on the arm is excellent. Even though the arm can only move up this much, because of the special joint in the shoulder, we can pull it out and have the whole arm move up even higher. For the forearm, we have a close to 180-degree bend, and we have armor splitting on the elbow. The palm has a very good range of mobility due to this open joint here. So moving to the head, most of the features are pretty standard except the oversized double V-fin with the black cap and black chin. A bit of the inner frame can be picked through here, and on top of that, we have the wing light separator on the side, which is a very cool design to break through the overall flatness of the head. Next, we're moving on to the transformation. Since I already go over the silhouette fire and the core splendor, I won't repeat it here. For the upper body, we open up the top pieces of the torso to cover the face, and at the same time we have the face look down. Next is to extend both shoulder joint, position the forearm forward 90 degrees. The right one will face it outside and the left one will remain the same. Then we bend both arms toward the front. For the left arm, just make sure that the palm also curve up like this to cover the size of the face. The right arm pretty much just hold the beam rifle. Position the connector on the shield like this and attach it to the left arm. It also comes with 2 landing gear to attach onto the shield if we desire. Simply just open up the white cover on both edges of the shield. If you want to display this on the action base, we need to use this adapter and connect it to the bottom of the torso. For the leg flyer, this is a very similar transformation to the Wing Zero. Bend up the lower leg 90 degrees, then hold the joint and the lower leg together to bend down 90 degrees. Position the feet to point down, then we can use the landing gear for it. 2 connection spots will be visible on the knee armor when it's split, and 1 on the front skirt after we remove the cap. For display stand connection, we just use the same one when we display the Sword Impulse Gundam altogether. So last but not least, you can either use this one for the display stand connection for the Sword Impulse Gundam, or you can use the Sword Flyer display stand connection. So in conclusion, this 2009 is old but still a very solid model kit to have. Technically speaking, this is a 2008 model since this is based on the Sword Impulse Gundam that released in that year. Not only is score high in mobility, but also the playability is excellent. I really like the extended shoulder joint. Because of that, the articulation of the arm is much better than a lot of other model kits, even the modern kit. You can choose to display this as 4 separate flying parts or just the whole Gundam together. From Bandai, we can only find this model in high grade, master grade, and real grade line so far. The high grade is nowhere to compare to this master grade, that is for sure. The real grade on the other hand is a pretty good competitor. The only down point is that the real grade is premium Bandai release. Either you get it now or you will have to wait for quite a bit. However, with similar price, the master grade is much more accessible. People may argue that the real grade has much more detail and articulation point, but the toys look just really cute for me. Not to mention that the beam effect part on the Excalibur is pretty lame on the real grade. Therefore, master grade is my answer. Easy to find, good to play, and solid as hell. Only complaint is the torso and the waist connection. Just have to be careful when playing with the waist joint. Alright, that is everything I want to share for the Master Grade Sword Impulse Gundam. Thank Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, press subscribe, share, and hit that notification button. Bye bye, and I will see you next time.